What's up guys, welcome back to another classic episode of Think Tank Thursday. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to go over the secret formula for making massive improvements in parkour. So you might be thinking, Liam, is there really a secret formula to parkour? And the answer is actually yes. There is definitely a certain way of doing things that is going to massively speed up your progress. And there's certain things that you just might not be aware of that I'm going to help you come to terms with today. And this is something that is going to be really helpful whether you're beginner, intermediate or advanced. If you can learn this as a beginner, fantastic, but a lot of people don't learn this until later on in the parkour, and I've never really heard it been put into words before, so I'm going to try and describe it to you properly now. So when things are going well, the formula is pretty easy. See the jump, do the jump, land the jump, happy days. Really easy formula. But what happens when it isn't going your way? What happens when you're having an off day, when you're getting mad at yourself, when you're not in a space where you can do parkour really well? And the thing is, man, like, it's really easy if you're in a space right now where you're rolling, where you're really on it, where your parkour is absolutely where you want it to be at. You're going to believe that actually, oh, there's never going to be a time when I don't, when things are going to go wrong. And if you do parkour long enough, i.e. more than a few months, you are gonna experience ups and downs. And then if you are someone who really is just quite in the moment, which is great, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm like, if you're on a roll, if you're rolling on a high, then you don't even care, right? But it's important to know this so that you can keep rolling on that high and not lose momentum and not dig yourself into a hole, because it's really easy to have a dry spell, hit a plateau and not be progressing in the way you want with parkour. So this is the formula that is gonna get you out of that hole, is gonna keep you rolling, gonna keep you riding high. So this is what you need to do. So the formula is really simple. It is bail, release, forget, move, and then continue. So what do I mean by each of these words? So obviously a bail is pretty much anything that is, you can't go for a move, you've got a mental block, you've done it and you've nearly made it or not quite made it and you've been really scared, or you've jumped and you've backed out halfway and now you nearly got injured and you got really freaked out, or any of these kind of things that sends you into that downward spiral in the session. And we've all experienced this if we've been doing parkour. No matter what your level is, you are always going to have those times where you can't, you're hitting that brick wall with a move, you just can't do it, or you've nearly done it and you've scared yourself and you're just starting to get to that point where it's like, whoa, this is maybe feeling a bit dangerous, and you start to feel a bit wary. That is what I'm talking about when I say bail. That is the first step to this cascade of bad stuff. So what do we do to sort that out? What we need to do is release. And I'm just going to cover these words real quickly so you know what I'm talking about with them, and then we're going to go into greater depth with each word. So release, I'm talking about an adrenaline dump. I'm talking about loosening your mind and like getting rid of the thoughts and the feelings that go along with having nearly bailed or having not being able to do the jump. And then the next thing you need to do is forget all about it, forget all about everything that just happened, everything that scared you about the jump, that is, forget everything to do with that jump. Then we need to move on, go and move and do something else, get into another challenge, and then we can continue with our session. Now stick with me, I need to go a lot deeper on each of these words because it sounds quite surface level right now, and I need to just drill into each thing, so just stick with me for a minute. So the key to rapid progress when it comes to parkour is to have a short memory. And this might seem kind of counterintuitive because you're like, well, I just want to forget everything. Like, I've put effort into learning these things. I don't want to just like forget and have a short memory about it and then not learn. It sounds like something that is like, in the normal way of thinking about how we learn stuff, the linear progresses, it does make us think like, oh, that's not correct. But the thing is, it's counterintuitive because parkour isn't a mind sport. We're not playing chess. We're not learning step-by-step movements. We're learning a different skill, which is trusting that body, turning off the mind, allowing muscle memories to take over, and allowing ourselves to move into that space of no mind and movement, because movement is not a linear mind-based thing, even though it feels like it is, because that's how we have always done life, right? We all tend to think of life as, I'm gonna think like it's like I want to do something, so I've got to think about it, I've got to get a concept of it in my head, and then I'm going to do it. But as I've explained in multiple videos now, that isn't really how it works when it comes to parkour. The point is to turn off your mind and move your body through the situation. So this is why it's so important to get into a place where you've got a really short memory. Because say, for example, you're doing a jump, right? You've done the jump, you bailed and you're not, and you're like, whoa, okay, and then you've got a million thoughts in your head. So like, you know, before you go, you've already, especially if you've got an overactive mind, you've already got a million thoughts in your head saying, well, this is dangerous, I don't want to do this, I could fall here, 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 and here. Especially if you haven't cultivated that space where you're just like, bam, I'm good, I can go, I know I can trust myself. If you've nearly bailed, say you've gone for a rail precision and your feet didn't quite make it, or you've hit it with 1 foot and you were like, whoa, I was really lucky. You perceive it as being really lucky that nothing bad happened. Even if it was the case that your body knows exactly what it was doing and bailed you out and would have done that whatever happened, because your body is actually much better at dealing with situations than you think, it will trigger a load of thoughts as to how it could have gone wrong, why it could have gone wrong, why you need to avoid that again. So this is why it's so important to cultivate that forgetful attitude, where it's like, I'm not bringing this forward with me into the rest of my training, okay? You don't want to be bringing those horrible thoughts about how it all went wrong and you nearly died, and like you nearly broke an ankle and you nearly weren't able to do parkour for 6 months. And if you can get rid of those horrible thoughts, the quicker that you can detach from that mindset, the better, obviously, right? So this is where I'm coming from. You need to develop and cultivate that kind of forgetful attitude to things that go on when you're doing parkour. Now, the memory is not just in your mind, it's not just the concepts, it's not just the thoughts, it also stays with you in your body. So you've got hormonal responses to stresses that are things like, you know, your cortisol levels rise, your adrenaline levels rise, and you will have this big adrenaline overload, especially if you've just bailed or nearly missed, or, you know, had one of these experiences, right? So your memories are attached also to the physiology that's going on in your body. So this is why it's so important to do a physical adrenaline dump. So I'm going to cover adrenaline dumps further in other videos in the future, because it's its own topic. But what I mean by this is I'm basically saying shake it off. You want to shake, you want to jump, you want to just give yourself like a physical release. You know, you just thump on the floor, jump, get your heels bouncing on the floor, just shake it off, shake that shit off, because it is a hormonal thing, and you can reground, you can just shake it off, you can get those jitters out of your system. And you do that in a physical way, and you basically shake it off. And I'll cover this in more detail in the future. But what you need to do to get rid of your thoughts as well is to make sure that you clear your mind. You want to stop dwelling on the situation. You want to stop attaching your ego, your personality to the situation, because what will happen is you'll do it, and then, you know, you'll do the bail, and then you will immediately, apart from all the millions of thoughts, it's like, I'm scared of this, oh no, what, you know, like I nearly died, blah, 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 blah. It also attaches to your ego of, I can't do this, I'm not someone who can do this, why am I not as good as other people? Why is everyone else seeming to be able to do this so easily? Why is it so easy for the pros, and why can't I do it? And this is what immediately triggers that anger with people, because they're like, I can't do it, oh, this is so annoying, oh, you know, I'm really frustrated because it's me and I can't do it. And if you build up those mental constructs, how are you going to move through your session? You are going to have a horrible, janky session that's going to go into a downward spiral over and over and over again the second you do something wrong. Like, everybody does things wrong. Everybody bails. Everybody has those mental blocks. You're not the only one. But everyone attaches their personality to it and their ego, and when you do it like that, it holds weight in you and it keeps it in you. And this is what I'm talking about, having that short memory. We can get rid of that if we just remember that it is just that one moment in time and has nothing to do with the rest of our session, the rest of our day, our personality, us as a person. Stop getting mad at yourself when you can't do something. It's just the reality of the situation for now, and you will progress and you will get better, but you will do nothing but hold yourself back if you attach all of your personalities to that bail. By the way, guys, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. On Thursdays, we go over massive mental techniques and psychology when it comes to parkour. We also go over exactly how to take care of your body and make sure that you're moving in a way that is going to keep you safe and long-term training. And then on Tuesdays, I'll take you around from town to town and show us doing parkour, us overcoming these mental barriers, meeting new people, training in new ways and going to new places. So please do subscribe if you haven't already, and I promise you will get very, very high quality videos every single week, Tuesday and Thursday. So subscribe now. So once you've done your adrenaline dump, once you have released forgotten and moved past this whole area, and you want to make sure that you get good at calling it at the right time. Don't keep banging your head against the wall, okay? 3 or 4, I mean, I don't want to give you a number because it's all personal and you might know that eventually you'll push through, but I am someone who is terrible for this. For ages I would be like, no, I can do it, and I'd waste my entire session pushing something out, and yeah, it'd feel fantastic when I got it, but I could have got 3 or 4 different things that maybe weren't the same thing, that were hard challenges, that would have progressed my parkour so much quicker if I'd have just let it go and just accepted the fail, the L, you know what I mean? Took the L and moved on, because it doesn't say anything about you. It's not this thing where it's like you just never back down and you're not someone who will give into a challenge. It's like, be smart about it, man. You're beating up your body. You're taking like a height drop if you're just jumping to the middle over and over and over again, not quite making the distance. It's smart to move on. It's smart and it's good for your body and it's good for you. So just really develop awareness about when you're just taking too long with a challenge, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you've taken too long, or we tend to have this thing where we want to double down. It's the same thing with gambling. When you put a chip on and you lose, you want to put more on so that you win that back, and as you put more and more time into a challenge, you want to get that end result. So we double down and double down and double down. But it's important to recognize that and move the hell on as soon as possible. When you do that, you release, then you forget. So you decide to move on, then you release, and then you forget all about it. And then it's like, start again from a fresh session. So this is when you want to move on to a different challenge and rebuild that special bar. If you haven't heard about the special bar yet, go and check out the video that I did on the special bar. It's super important about building momentum in a session. This is the next thing you want to do. The quickest way to get over a challenge is by moving on to another challenge. But the thing is, what you'll experience is, you'll experience a sense of non-trust in your body, because you've already bailed one challenge and your momentum has been shot. You can't trust yourself to do what you thought you were able to do. Your thoughts, words, and actions weren't in alignment. We need to realign those, and we do that by going and finding small challenges, followed by intermediate challenges, followed by another hard challenge, right? So you're in your session, you've done your bail, release, forget, and then we're moving on, and we're going to do stuff that you can already do. So do sticks and precisions. Remind yourself that you're actually in tune with your body. Get to the point where you do some things that are not easy for you. Well, yeah, start with easy for you, but you just basically remind yourself that you know what you're doing, and you develop that mind-muscle connection again, you develop that mind-body trust, and then you're moving into a new space and you're ready to rock again. Move on to something intermediate, challenge yourself again, get into a flow, build a line full of intermediate lines where you're like bang, 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 get into that flow state again, move into a space where you're trusting yourself, you're happy with what you're doing, and then hit something that's gonna make you proud, hit something that's gonna make you happy, and then you can move back onto harder challenges, and then you can re-attack that other one if you want to that day, or maybe move on to it another time, but don't waste your time hitting it over and over and over again without doing these other steps first, okay? And if you do go back and you're like, whoa, just leave it for that session. It's okay, you can come back to it another time. You don't have to always be doing the absolute hardest thing you can do. You're gonna get so much more progress by committing to things that are slightly easier for you, that you can do in 3 or 4 tries, or you can do first time, but it was hard. You're gonna make more progress that way. Stop banging your head against the wall. Stop pushing your limits past what they're actually comfortable with. There's a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot where it's a challenge and it's difficult, but it's not actually outside of your zone. And for me, I'm really bad with this. I'm like really focused on my absolute limit, and I want to do that all the time, but it's not a good way to actually progress and get better in parkour. So just find those things that are just below the thing that would be your absolute max and start hacking those out. Really start to build that trust again. So that's the move portion of this formula, and it's a super important part of it, because when your mind is, the quickest way to not dwell on something if you're really having trouble getting those thoughts out of your mind is to move into a place where you're doing stuff that is easy for you again. So that's it, guys. That's the secret formula. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. I've got to wrap up this video because the battery is about to die. Big love, guys. I'll see you next week for Tuesday vlogs or Thursday Think Tank. Much love. Thank you for watching this. Please leave me a comment down below, and we will take care of anything that you want to take care of on this channel. So just let me know what it is, and I will reply in the comments, and I will make you a video, whatever you need, guys. I'm here for you. Big love. Take care. I'll see you next week.